Hit it. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. My question is, are there any additions to the agenda?
There are no additions.
No additions. Great. And council, would you mind reading in the closed session items?
Not at all, Chair, members of the board. There are two items listed on your closed session portion of your agenda. The first is under Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators. Your agency designated representatives are Joel Bugay, Susan Carter, Sabrina Mendez. The employee organizations are all units, and the unrepresented employees include all classifications but not elected officials. Under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1, there's an existing litigation matter. You conference with your legal counsel. The name of the case is Torres versus Hertz. Madera County's in the et al. Portion of that case name. That's a Madera County Superior Court case, MCV 082354, and it was consolidated with another case listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Very good, and thank you very much. Are there any members of the public that have any comments regarding the closed session items? Seeing and hearing none, we will move into closed session. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to a regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. Council, are there any reportable actions at a closed session?
Chairman, there is no reportable action from closed session.
Very good. Thank you. At this time, we'll open and close the meeting in memory of those who we have lost. Are there any individuals that a colleague of mine like to remember at this time? Seeing and hearing none, we'll open up with the invocation and pledge of allegiance. And today we have Carla, one of our chiefs of staff, who will be leading us in the invocation. Would everybody please stand?
Good morning, board. Before I begin to pray, just wanted to share a quick verse. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand." So right there you are. Let's just all close our eyes. Thank you, God, for this beautiful morning that you have allowed us to be here. Help us through this meeting. Help all the elected officials, all the decisions that they will be voting on today. Guide them, help them, give them the strength to make the decisions correctly for our community, for the community that is in need of you. Thank you for this moment, and we give you all the glory and praise in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you. We will move on to public comment. And as a reminder, the first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Are there any members of the public who would feel free to come on up?
Good morning, board. My name is Brianna Gonzalez. I am a resident of Madera County. I live just down the street, so thank you guys for having me today. I am with Project Food Box. I'm just here to bring awareness to you guys and to our community about this new resource that is part of the CalAIM benefits for anyone that has CalViva. It is a free medically tailored meal program where we deliver fresh fruits and vegetables, 18 to 20 pounds, straight to our Medi-Cal members' doors, really getting rid of that transportation barrier. Our goal and our mission is to bridge the gap between food insecurity and chronic health conditions. As we know, those do lie hand in hand. And when we look at our community and a lot of the struggles they're facing with rising costs and everything, and just the economy in general, it is good to have this resource out for our members. It's super easy to sign up. I can provide pamphlets or flyers, but I'm really just here to bring awareness and answer any questions you guys might have. We are new to the community, so we do serve all of Madera County, all districts. So we will go up in the mountains if we need to, all the way to Oakhurst and such. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Let you guys know that we are here to support our Madera County citizens and really help fill that need here in our community. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Any other individuals that have a comment for the public? Anybody online?
Nobody online.
Okay, very good. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar a colleague of mine like to have pulled for further discussion?
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to pull 5F.
5F, okay.
And
Any-
Chair, just a note on item U as in umbrella, there's a typographical error to the number 2 noted on U. It should be unanticipated revenue number 23-122. It's correct in the backup, but on the agenda it says 22.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Thank you very much. Are there any other items a colleague of mine like to have pulled? Supervisor, 5F. Feel free to go ahead and
Yeah, reading the backup on this, it seems unclear as far as what we're trying to accomplish here. It shows a rate adjustment to $32.50 for Zach Security, but in the discussion, it goes into discussing going through a competitive process for 24-25. And then at the end of that, it says Zach Security has agreed to continue services under the terms of the current agreement with no increase in compensation. Can you provide some clarity to this?
I hope so. Darren McCandless, County Administration. This current contract for Zach's expires June 30 of this year. This item is amending to just extend the term for a year. There is no increase over last year's rate. Our plan is to conduct a competitive process during the 24-25 year, but for the 25-26 year and beyond. During the course of this year, we're looking at the scope of services, hoping to narrow the scope of services. We are moving forward with a new security system, which hopefully will fit, that will integrate and will help us determine what the proper scope of services going in to next term or next contract or the competitive bid will be. So just a 1-year extension, no increase in rates, planned for a competitive process during the course of the year.
So what are we amending the compensation from? If we're amending,
It's not amending the compensation at all. It's amending the term, adding an additional year, but 32.50 is the expiring rate. So there is no increase in compensation.
okay, it just sounds very unclear since it says considering entering into an agreement, amending compensation to the rate of $32.50 per hour.
The recommended action makes it sound as if the focus is on the rate, but the focus is actually on the term.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
very good. Are there any other items? All right, very good. Members of the public, are there any individuals in the public that have a question regarding the consent calendar item? Seeing and hearing none, I guess there's nobody online. Okay,
No
very
comments
good.
online.
I'll bring the item back for action.
Move to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that motion, does it include correcting the typographical error in item U?
I heard
Item-
Yes,
I
it
heard
does.
Supervisor McCauley mumble something
He
about.
did mention that. Okay.
I'm a mumbler, so I apologize, but yes.
And the second was for that too. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Supervisor McCully,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Supervisor Rogers is absent. Vote passes 4-0.
very good. Thank you. Item 6A.
Board of Supervisors Department, Madera County Tourism Business Improvement District. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution declaring the results, majority protest proceedings, adopting the management district plan, and renewing the Madera County Tourism Improvement District. Discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Southern Yosemite Visitors Bureau, DBA Visit Yosemite, Madera County levying assessments in lodging businesses for a term starting January 1st, 2025 and ending January 31st, 2035, and authorizing the chairman to sign.
Checking the mic.
I think you've heard me before on this. So I think we're at the home stretch and we still have the support we need, and I would appreciate the support from this board.
Very good. Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Super.
Thank you, Chair Regina Garza, County Council. I will also add that the two items, one is to declare the results of your last meeting where there wasn't a protest of the Tourism Improvement District being extended and renewed starting on January 1st of 2025. The second item is an agreement between the county and Visit Yosemite where it explains that Visit Yosemite is going to be managing the plan, and there's also a 2.5% of all the assessments collected, a percentage of 2.5% of all the 2.5% assessments collected that will go to the county, specifically the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office, who manages most of the collection of those assessments. And so that is also required by law to make sure that there is an agreement between, they call it the, I don't have it in front of me, but it's like the operator of the plan. So that's legally required, and that's what number 2 is about. So any questions, Rhonda and I are here to answer them.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions from any of my colleagues? I'll open it up to the public. Are there any questions from the public regarding 6A, 1 and 2? Anybody online?
Nobody online to make comments.
Very good. I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Well,
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes,
Vote passes 4-0.
very good. Thank you very much. Excellent. 6B.
Community and Economic Development Department, Planning Division. Consideration of entering into an agreement with Stephen M. and Jeannie Bricker, co-trustees, for the purchase of a portion of real property for Scott Road Emergency Evacuations Route, and authorizing Public Works Director to sign.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have a brief PowerPoint presentation on this item for the board's consideration. Again, as discussed here, and I think we'll transition over to the screen there. And so hopefully some of these maps identify here, try to identify the property in question that we're discussing, which is it's 2 separate parcels, approximately a 3.5 acre parcel and a 40 acre, close to 40 acre parcel that Mr. and Mrs. Bricker own that are subject. So this map here, we just call out the different parcels that are served off of these 2 roadways. John West is the larger one. And you have between Yosemite Pines, which consists of 16 parcels up there on 222 at the top of the screen. You have 207 parcels, and of those 207, 199 are developed. So pretty much built out. This was parcels were created in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 1990 was the latest parcel map that created some parcels up there. But we have roughly 600, a little over 600 residents that are residing on these two roads. You got a total mile distance of just a shade under 5 miles. Again, we'll talk a little bit about it. Here's the conceptual roadway that's laid out here that would make this just under 6/10 of a mile connecting these two dead end roads. Again, John West is about just shy of 4 miles, and Yosemite Pines is just a little shy of a mile long. And so this 6/10 of a mile would connect these two dead end roads where, again, we have over 600 residents that reside there. It was one key aspect of the project is this roadway was clearly identified in the Oakhurst Area Plan, which was a community-driven effort adopted by the board in 2005. That plan identified 20 secondary road connections, or some of them were enhancements or improvements to existing roads. This was proposed as obviously a brand new road connecting these two dead end roads up there in the very high fire hazard areas. Just a little bit about the project and what we're working here, and Hayden with our Public Works Department is in the audience here. Hayden's been tasked with the design and engineering plans and specs for this project. And so it is, again, the proposal is to construct this new roadway to a Class 3 road standard, which would be two 10-foot paved lanes, 3-foot shoulders. Again, it's a little under 6/10 of a mile. It is this road and these properties are already included into two separate road districts, CSA 20 and MD 32A. One key aspect is this project is being proposed before you to be used road impact fee dollars to fund this improvement. So it would be no general fund dollars. It would be no highway user gas tax dollars at this time. The proposal and what we're looking at is to utilize road impact fee program funds for this. You may recall in 2022, the board adopted an update of that road impact fee program and inputted $28 million, programmed $28 million for secondary fire emergency evac routes. So this is what would provide the funding for this. And again, just in closing, we are supporting that the board enter into the purchase agreement with the Brickers on this, and that will allow us to get out there and start doing some survey work and putting some legal descriptions together to acquire that property. Available for any questions the board may have.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions of Matt?
Just a couple comments, Chair, if I may, so I'll try not to take up too much time, but I do want to thank staff for taking their time with this. I know it's a project that has been, in the pipeline for a long time, you might say. The community's been very eager for this, so it's very difficult to kind of slow down and take the time to work with the community on it, but I think staff did a great job with that. I think we actually got a free traffic study from one of our volunteer citizens out there, which was helpful in explaining to the folks on Yosemite Pines about what the potential impacts on their road would be. So just overall, I think it's a wonderful project. From living back there myself, I'll tell you, it takes about 20 to 25 minutes if you're all the way on the back of Gene Road East to get out. And of course, in the event of a fire, that's way too long. And so this new access road would allow people to get out very quickly. And I think it's, really essential. So thanks again to staff for putting this all together. And thanks for the community coming out and support. Appreciate the Weiss being here and organizing so many of the community members to attend those community meetings. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments from my colleagues? If not, I'll open up to the public. Are there any members of the public that have comments regarding this item? Anybody online?
No comments online.
Very good. We'll bring the item back for, looks like we have somebody coming on up.
I'm Charles Wiest. I live in Madera County on Jean Road East, less than a mile from Scott Drive. We're very pleased to see this project going forward. It is going to be a lifesaver for communities on both sides of the hill. Right now, it's too long to get out. If there's a fire in our area, you know, there's fires now. And so I know we've been working on this for a long time. We really appreciate Bobby McCauley's effort on this, and we're very much in favor of it. And you guys, of course, the county guys and all their work. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. If there's no other public comment, I'll bring the item back for action.
I would move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. 6C.
Fire Department, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Merced County Fire Department for a jointly staffed fire station in El Nido, and authorize the chairman and the fire chief to sign.
Neato, man.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Justin McComb, Assistant Chief for CAL FIRE. I oversee Madera County Fire Department. The item before you is an agreement between Merced County Fire and Madera County Fire. We initially met in February with representatives from Merced County Fire Department, and there was mutual interest in looking at how we can jointly staff the El Nido Fire Station. And with these agreements, it's got to be reciprocal in some way. And on our end in Madera, as fire chief, I figured that it was a good opportunity to look at the lack of fire protection that we have in Western Madera County. And I don't know if our slide shows up, but I'd like to share a map if it is. So this map just depicts the fire stations that we have in Madera County, whether it's county fire stations, CAL FIRE stations, volunteer stations, and it shows basically every district that we have throughout the county. If you focus on the western portion in blue, that's Supervisor Rogers' district. You can see in the upper left corner, the blue circle, that's El Nido. It's just on the other side of the county line within Merced County, just off of 152 there in Highway 59. So the current agreement that we have with them is that shaded little area along Highway 152. So in negotiations with Merced County, we agreed that if we were to provide 3 firefighters to them, that they would essentially knock down that zone. That's a current zone that they stay within. They would knock down that zone and they would become we would basically go to a closest resource concept, which when you go to closest resource concept, they would just go outside that zone all the way as far as when CAD enters in a call, computer automated dispatch enters in a call, it'll auto-populate that engine as one of the closer resources. The thing that I like about this agreement is, especially in the summertime, a lot of our busiest fire stations in the county get dispatched to calls in Western Madera, and they're committed for an extended period of time. We usually lose engine 1 and engine 3 to multiple incidents in Western Madera County. With this, we're adding an engine. So we're essentially building depth. We're building depth as far as the response area of what El Nido will cover. Also built in is move up and cover. So when we do get very busy with fires or other incidents, they will actually come in and cover our fire stations for us. So it's a reciprocal agreement that I think is very fair. It's a little bit outside the box, but in today's day and age, we got to that's the way of thinking right now to maximize our fire protection in the area. I just want to note that our current staffing, we're a surplus of 3 firefighters. So we're not increasing anything. We already have these firefighters. It takes 6 firefighters total to staff any new stations. But we don't have 6 to look at staffing any new stations in the county, but we do have 3. And this partnership makes sense to me. And I think it's gonna be beneficial to everybody in the county. And I'm open to any questions you may have.
Very good. Thank you very much. Good presentation. Are there any questions from my colleagues regarding?
Yeah, just a quick question. So I think last week, we had a fire on the west side near Fireball off Avenue 12. And so how would this agreement impact our response on an incident like that?
Yeah, can we pull up the map again? That's a good question. That's a perfect example. So the fireball incident was off Avenue 7. If this agreement was in place, it would have auto-populated El Nido to come down into that area. So that would have saved us an engine going out there. So I will say at the time of that fire, we were extremely busy. We've been beyond busy. This is probably a record start to fire season in Madera. I'll just share with you an example. I came up this map as of last night. We've had our 38th fire, 38, in the river between Tozier Bridge and High Speed Rail. So each one of those overextends our resources. There's been multiple incidents between the Fireball, the Canal, the Tesoro. We had one on Avenue 8.5, or Avenue 8, I'm sorry. There's been a couple times where we've literally had not a single engine in a fire station. They've all been committed to incidents. So this agreement is a perfect example of times like that when we're at extreme drawdown. And it just builds depths and we gain another engine essentially into the county.
Very good. Yes.
Chief, just for the public's ability to know, has Merced County agreed to this?
Through talks, yeah, we've essentially talked to their fire chief there and some of their electeds, and they're all in support.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
for those that may be looking at the +3 staffing in regards to potentially understaffed or unstaffed stations, what's your response to that? I know there's been some shifting around of staffing, especially in the mountain areas. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Say that one more time.
Regarding the +3 staffing that we currently have, there were concerns about certain fire stations or volunteer stations being unstaffed or understaffed. Can you talk a little bit about how this may affect or not affect those stations?
Yeah, in a broader scale, there's a lot of interest in staffing several fire stations throughout the county. As the county builds out through development agreements and whatnot, we're waiting on some infrastructure, and one day we'll get there as far as when we get additional fire stations built. With only having 3 available, there you can't really entertain staffing anything new. That's why this, like I said, with 3, it makes sense with this partnership. Now, there's been some other talk or some discussion on, some priority stations, and through CAL FIRE and Madera County Fire, we've looked at with Supervisor McCauley, we've looked at Station 11 in North Fork. We've got a plan with that. We're assessing we submitted a white paper to basically the state to move a state fire engine to that facility. So we'll essentially with this, we'll take care of Station 11 through a state agreement, and we'll take care of this El Nido agreement with just surplus staffing.
Great, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. If there's no other questions or comments, are there any members of the public that have a comment or question regarding this item? Anybody online?
No comments online.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I'll bring it back to my colleagues for action.
Move to approve this item.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Warmha,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Poitras.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. Very good. Great job. Appreciate it. Item 6D.
Sheriff Coroner's Office, presentation and request for comments regarding the California Truth, Transparency Review of Unjust Transfers and Holds and Value Act AB 2792 of any county that has provided the United States Immigration Customs Enforcement Agencies, ICE, access to any individual in custody during the previous year, is to hold a community forum to provide information to the public about ICE's access to individuals to receive and consider public comment.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Chris Rodriguez, Captain, Madera Sheriff's Office. I'm here to discuss our annual Truth Act Community Forum, trying to get the PowerPoint on. We have a brief PowerPoint. This is an annual report that we've been conducting for several years. It's for transparency for our community regarding our interactions with immigration. There it goes. Just some nuts and bolts regarding the Truth Act. It's established as local governing bodies to hold a public hearing regarding providing ICE access to individuals in the county jail. It requires us not to provide ICE with information with release dates, home addresses, work addresses, whether our computer information logs, that's not required. The Values Act kind of establishes a list of qualifying charges. When an inmate meets those qualifying charges, then we're eligible to communicate with immigration. And the PowerPoint above mentions a list of charges that makes it eligible to communicate with immigration. If they're convicted of a serious and violent felony, the individual has been convicted of a felony punishable by imprisonment. They've been charged with a sex charge, arson charge, individual arrested for a serious or violent felony. And after a preliminary hearing, the magistrate has determined there is probable cause to hold the individual to answer for a crime, or the individual has been convicted within the past 5 years of a misdemeanor or wobbler. And so for the most part, I just want to provide data that shows that Madera County Jail had processed in the year 2023, 4,787 inmates. We received requests to communicate 65 times to ICE, but only one of those individuals was actually turned over to ICE. They obviously met the criteria. And so this is the data that's required to obviously educate the community and the board. And do you have any questions?
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Are there any questions from my colleagues regarding this report?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Is human trafficking considered serious violent felony in California?
I believe so.
It's not. Human trafficking, so that wouldn't even qualify. It says a serious violent felony. So I just want to, and this isn't, this is rhetorical because it may just me standing on my soapbox of how insane California is. When you look through these whole criteria of laws of what qualifies and what doesn't qualify, this is just insane to me. We have a law enforcement agency who's requesting information on people who are being booked into county jail, and we're being held hostage, held to a standard that, is such a high bar to pass along that information. This is just,
No, I agree.
just me expressing my frustration as far as, our state laws. So it's a rhetorical question, so I apologize, but you look good in that tie. Thank you.
Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I'm a little uncomfortable, but thank you.
Very good. Are there any other comments from my colleagues? If not, this is an item that it's not an action item, but it's a community forum to provide information to the public about ICE's access to individuals and to receive public comment. So I would encourage anybody here who would like to provide public comment, this is your opportunity. You certainly have other opportunities to contact the county, but in this public forum.
Charles Weiss, Madera County. I am in favor of all agencies sharing information. I think it's essential. It makes their job easier, makes us safer. I think this Truth Act is a bunch of BS, and I think our state's completely out of line. So if that comment could get to the state legislatures, I would like that. But as far as I'm concerned, share information, make it easier for our agencies that are in law enforcement, and keep these criminals off the street.
Good. Thank you. Are there any other comments? If not, I will close this item and we will move on now to our lone public hearing item, 7A.
Board of Equalization, hearing of objections to assessments of lands by the assessor of the Chowchilla Water District and adoption of a resolution for fiscal year 2024-2025.
Nobody from the Chowchilla Water District is running up. So it looks like our council will present this item.
Hello, Chair, members of the board. This is a hearing to hear any objections related to the assessment from the Chowchilla Water District. Their book and annual obligations have been filed with the clerk of the board's office, and their general manager, who's Brandon Tomlinson, asked by way of letter to set today's hearing, and the assessment would be $1.50 per $100 of assessed value. This item was published pursuant to law, and on your backup, you have the assessment book. So if there are any questions, I would hold them. I'm just kidding. You can ask me the questions, but then also open up the public hearing to hear any objections. Thank you.
Very good. Are there any questions from my colleagues regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none, I will open up the public hearing for objections to the assessment of lands by the assessor of the Chowchilla Water District. Seeing and hearing none, I will bring the item back for action. Actually, there's no action, it's just hearing objections, right?
Right. And
Okay.
let me just double check that, Chair.
Okay.
We have a resolution.
Okay.
Oh, there is a resolution. Okay. So,
Right. Adoption of a resolution is on listed
okay.
here.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Chair, I don't know if you closed the public hearing.
The public hearing is closed.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. 6E.
6E, Treasurer Tax Collectors Department, second reading to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 3.46 fee schedule and Chapter 5.04 business licenses for services provided by the Office of Treasurer Tax Collector.
Hi, Jacqueline Torres, your Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector, along with Jennifer Garcia, our Admin Analyst. And we're here to you again for our second reading. Nothing's changed since last week.
It's the first reading.
Since the first reading. So if there's any questions, we're more than happy to answer them.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none, are there any members of the public who have a question on this item? I see there are none. I'll bring the item back for action.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. 6F.
6F, Treasurer Tax Collector Department, second reading to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 5.04 business licenses for services provided by the Office of Treasurer Tax Collector.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any members of the public that have a question regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamha?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Poitras?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation. Item 8, pending legislation. Is there anything that we need to be aware of?
Not on this week's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Item 9, supervisor and staff reports. I'll start to my right. Supervisor Wamhop,
Nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
And nothing to report.
Supervisor McCauley,
Thank you, Chair. Foundation. In. Oh, microphone. Thank you so much. Thought I was mumbling again. Had a great meeting last Wednesday with the Eastern Madera County Foundation to discuss some revitalization efforts in Oakhurst as well as Eastern Madera County. And then we have a meeting with the San Joaquin River Conservancy Board tomorrow morning. Talk about some new parks on the river.
thank you. And last Saturday or Friday evening, I attended the Olive fundraiser, and it was a great event. We had the police chief from Nevada City, Chief Daniel Foss, and he was anyway gave another great presentation, and he was one who was really at the forefront, along with others, to establish the Olive Foundation to fight human trafficking here in Madera County. And um, uh, anyway, it was a little lightly attended. It was normally a lot of Rotarians show up, but that was the evening of the Jack Netherton relays, and I know that it's a all hands on deck performance from members of the Madera Rotary Club at that event. So otherwise, I know they would have been there because the Bennett family, and who is part of Madera Rotary, has been a huge contributor to Olive. So, but again, it was another great event and reminder about what's going on in our county that a lot of people aren't even aware of. CAO Varney.
Nothing to report this week other than budget hearings begin next Monday.
Yay. Council,
Chair, no report. Thank you.
clerk of the board.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, very good. And with that, we shall adjourn the meeting. Everybody have a great rest of the day.